Everyone. This is Week 7 Lab. The topic is GDBC. Remember this Week 7 Lab, you could consider that as a for Week 7 and Week 8 at the same time, because in Week 8, we don't have any new topic. It's going to be only GDBC, which is just for you to work on the GDBC lab as well. You will have 2 weeks to finish that. You will need some time to finish this. It's not the same as the previous week class where you could finish that in 1 week. First of all, if you look at the application that we have an MVC web application that we're going to build. And the main thing that we need to do is something called a CRUD. CRUD is create, read, update, delete application, where I can create something, read, update, and delete. Now, what are the main entity for the lab that we're going to create is the user. We will be able to do these things. For example, view all users, add a user, update a user, and delete a user. Okay, and this is the data that you will see. For example, remember that you don't need to create anything regarding the database. If you scroll down, you will see that I actually have highlighted something here, and I changed the colors just to help you to see, to notice what are the changes that you need to do while you are working with the lab. But now, if you scroll down here, I will go back again there. But this is the database that you need, and the database contains two tables. The first one called role table, this one. And this has a role ID and role name. And the primary key of it is a role ID. And we have here a user database. And this user database has an email, and the email going to be the primary key of the table called user. And we have a foreign key constraint. And this foreign key constraint for sure is just with one table that we have, which is role table. And if you want to see that on picture, you can see that here, that we have like one-to-many relationship between the role and the user. All of that is very simple, by the way. Like you will see that when I run the application, it's not that complicated. Yeah, this is the database. You just need to copy that. And remember, you just need to head to your project and create a package called database. And inside it, you should have a file with a SQL extension and just paste the data here. Okay, and remember that before you go here and say run the file, you need to create a database. I have just created that just here. You just right click and then create database, and it should be user DB. But I already have that, and I'm going to create it. And this is the string for connection. You can just copy paste what do we have from the demo, but you need to change the name of the database and the URL as well. Okay, and remember that we are using some where is it? I think it should be here. These are copy-paste, as I say, connection pooling classes. You don't need to write that, but remember that you need just to edit this to user DB, because the one that we have for the demo is saying node DB, and this is the database util. You don't need to change anything here. Now, let me just run the project right now to see how things will go. I have a do get and do post. If you want to have a look at the web.xml, very simple. The welcome file is users, and users is, this is the pattern of that, and it's being linked with a user servlet. That means I just have one servlet here. If I go to the servlet, I just have one servlet, and this servlet has two methods, one do get and one do post. Now let's just run that and see how things will go. And here we go. Now we got manage users. Under that, we have a table that contains all data that I have on the database. Then I have a form called add user, and I can add user. For example, let's say I'm going to add a user. This is the email of that user. This is their name. And this is the last name. I'm going to enter a password like 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. And here I have a system admin. I can say sysadmin or regular user. I have two options. I'm going to go with system admin and say save. Here we go. Now, if you look on the top, I can see the data, and you need to make sure that this is being reflected on the database as well. If we go to the database services, and then here, okay, I need to enter that. Okay, now under that here, we will have the user, just say view data. And as you can see, now I can see that this user is being here as an A, B, last name, and this is the password that I'm entering here. And we have the role, if you want to scroll to the right, the role is 1. And now if you want to see what do we mean by 1 or 2, remember this is just a foreign key for another table. That means if I go to the role, I just say view data, and I will see that 1 means system admin and 2 means regular user. Now let me just close this and go back to manage user. Now, as I said, let's just close it again and run that. This is the main page that you will have. This is the only JSP page that we have. As you can see, if I want to, okay, let me just delete the user. You can delete it. If I say delete, now let's add that user again. Let's say A, B, C, and password 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make this as a regular user right now and say save. Now, as you can see, I have the user being updated here. Now, at the same time, we can edit, like let's say that this user want to change his first name or last name or the role, for example. I can click on edit and so I can say system admin. Remember that you need to retype the password here, but in the back end, you don't need to check if this is the correct password or not. Like this is just imagine you are updating the password and that's all. Okay, no need to check the password. We are not like concerned about security, but just type a new password or something like that. But the main change is that like we are changing that to sysadmin and say update. And you can see that now I'm changing that to sysadmin. Now let's click on edit again. I can say cancel if I don't want to do anything here. I can say cancel. And that means we all go back to the add user. Now let's click on delete for the second time. We have deleted that record. Let's add it again. Okay, this is C and this is the password. And here I'm going to choose this is as a regular user, say save. Now you should notice something. For example, here I have this admin as a system admin. Now, if I click on edit, you should see that system admin is being selected. Now, if I choose another one whose role is regular user, if I click here, regular user, you will see that regular user is being selected here. Yeah, this is one of the things that you need to keep track of it. Now, let me just open the, okay, let's just delete this right now. Okay, wait, I'm gonna cancel this. Now delete. Okay, now let's open and see the format of the HTML in this page. Just press Ctrl U here. And here we go. Now, the first thing we have manage users, and I suggest that you follow this. Like first you do the manage user, you get all users and list them in the table, and then you add user, then you delete the user, and then update. Okay, because update, it's I don't say it's the trickiest part, but you need some work because, as you say, like if I just want to say edit, as you can see, it says system admin. This is right now it's regular. You need just to think about it, but it's not that difficult, by the way. Like you can figure that out, and you will see that here now. Like you will see some hints here when we go there. But right now, let's just focus on, as I said, like the first thing is manage user. Manage user is simply a table that we have it here, and it has two links. I'm sending the links to the only URL that I have. Remember, in the web.xml, I just have users. And here I'm sending the action as edit because I have here either edit or delete. And for both of them, I'm sending the email for that user. For example, this user, I'm sending this as a parameter. Okay, I'm sending this as a parameter for either edit or delete. And this is for the first user, this is the second user, third user, and this is the fourth user. Now, the second component in the page, you will see that I have an add user. And the add user, I will have this thing. First of all, I have here a form, method, post, and action users. And indeed, yes, I would say that I have email, first name, last name, password, system, admin, save. I have them here. And then I'm giving you the options to select either system admin or regular user. And then here I have the hidden value, which is I'm saying this is an add. And remember, this is going to be post for user and say submit. And this is the button that I have to invoke the method. Now, if you compare my solution, now I just noticed that, therefore I stopped for a moment, because if I say edit here, as you can see, I'm not printing the email here because the email is going to be a primary key and we are not going to change that. If you compare that here with the document, you will see that when they click on edit, yeah, they print the email as a text. I will pause the video for a moment. I'm going to just try to add that here because it's very important. Okay, let's do that. I will give it a try right now. I'm just going to click edit for any of them. And here we go. Now we have the email. I just figured out like I missed that. Well, yeah, like you need to add the email here because if you convert, yes, you need to have the email when you click on edit. Remember that we couldn't allow the user to change that because this is the primary key. I'm just going to print that. However, you can change your name, for example, to like I say update, and now I have that as a to. Let's say this was a mistake. I can just go back to the old version and say, okay, now it's a system admin. As I said, like I don't check the password. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyway, and say update. Right now we have sysadmin, admin 2, admin 2. Yeah, let's go back to here. As I said, this is the post method for add a user. We just, if I again. Yeah, here we have it's very simple. Let's see the edit. When I click on edit, what's the change gonna be? Now this is the edit part. We have two buttons. We have an email. You feel free how you want to update and cancel. By the way, you can. For me, I'm okay if you want to say cancel as a link, if it's easier for you, but it's totally okay for me. Now let's go to Control U to see that. Again, the manage user is always exist. Doesn't matter if we are gonna like do the things for add or edit, it's gonna always be there. Therefore, we have the table. Now, if you scroll down, here the edit user part, I have post method. The first part, I'm adding this is my change, like I'm just printing the email here. And then I have the data, first name, last name. Remember that you can use the value thing to add the values. And here we have the role. And if you are wondering, yes, here we go. This is, for example, system admin is being selected. This is in HTML. I'm saying this is being, but you need to use a JSTL if statement to know which one is being a system admin or a regular user. Like, for example, here I say regular user, you'll see that it's being selected right now. For example, Control U, scroll down. This one here is selected, but this one here, this one's selected. Okay, it's a JSTL if statement. It's very simple. And here we have on the edit user, you will have two hidden value, one for the email, because when I want to update it, I want to have an access to the email to update that user by the primary key. And here we have the action. And then I have the two buttons here. Okay, as I said, like if you have any problem doing that, the cancel button, you can just do a link that takes you back to the main page as a GET request, and that's all. As a do GET request, not a do post request, because this is a part of the do post. There are different ways to implement this. I'm okay with any part. At least you are, when I say cancel, you are canceling. If you are wondering what are the methods that you need, I can show you just the name of the methods. For example, in the user service, you will need a method to get all user. Okay, like remember that the table need to get all user, and I need to get a single user. And to get a single user, that means you need to use the primary key, which is the email, and that we are passing the email here. And here we are passing the data to insert a user or add a user to the database, which is this one here. Like when I say add, I'm gonna pass this data here, which is email and the activity. You can set activity to true or false, doesn't matter right now. First name, last name, password, and raw. And this is update. I remember that on update, we pass the same data as well. As I said, like just assume activity is a true or false by your end. It doesn't matter. Right now, if I go to my database, you'll see that I'm adding that as a false, but you can change that to be true. For example, here, okay, I'm not adding a user. Let's add a user. But like by default right now, because here I'm not adding any availability or something from this form. Let's say regular user, say submit. Now, if I go here, re-execute the query, you'll see that the active is what is false right now. I can set that to true. It's depends on you. Yeah, this is for update. And here, what do we have? We have delete. And for delete, we just need to get the primary key. And if I have the primary key, remember that this is the delete. If I just go back up here, if you see that on the corner as well, this is the action. I'm sending that to users, then action, delete, and the email for the person that I want to delete. Okay. And if you see that, oh, we have a strange number, which is %40. This %40, this is how HTML actually is trying to convert the at symbol, because this is like a reserved symbol. They're just converting that. But in your code, you just need to say a at a. Okay. But in HTML, they're gonna say, no, we're not gonna use this. We're gonna say this. Okay. Therefore, this is what do we have it here? If you say that on the corner, we have a %40. Okay. And yeah, remember that this is a service is not going to use a lot of things except calling the user database. That means after we reach this point, we will go from user service to user DB. And it's the same methods, but this is where we literally start talking with the database. And I hope that you give a try to see that here in GitHub. I think it is on the week 7 demo. Yeah. And you can see like some similar, because it's literally copy and paste on a lot of parts of this code. You can just go to database, no, data access. Here I have NodeDB, and you will see I have here get all to get all nodes. Then in this case, I just need to get all user, for example, not nodes. That means the query should be changed. Here, select a star from nodes, for example. Okay, and here we are passing and a primary key, but for our case right now in the, for example, here, I just need to say select star from users, and in this case, or user table, and this gonna give me all the records in the database and something like that. Here's get node by ID, and here's get node insert. It's the same, okay, but you just need to like change that from the node to the user. You don't need to write that much of code by yourself, okay? Try to reduce that amount of code. And yeah, that's very much everything for this week.